Hi, everybody. Joe Cioffi here. Weather in 5 days in 5 minutes. And we will go through the watches and warnings because we do have a lot of areas that have some hazards. First off, in the Northeast, new flood and flash flood watches are up for the Hudson Valley, north of Route 84, all the way up into northeastern New York, all of Vermont and New Hampshire, western and central Massachusetts, northwest Connecticut, and parts of western Maine. The gray areas indicate the return of smoke, and we have all sorts of air quality alerts from the lower Great Lakes across the upper Ohio Valley into Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and New York State. Also in parts of the South, in the Carolinas, in parts of Georgia, and in Tennessee. Meanwhile, we have heat advisories and excessive heat warnings up across the South from Mississippi west through Texas and New Mexico, on into Arizona. The area in the Southwest, the southern half of Arizona, southern Nevada, and into Southern California. All these areas are experiencing extreme temperatures above 110, and in some places even up above 120 degrees. We also have some air quality alerts in a few areas in the northern plains and also in the central plains. And we should point out that the island of Hawaii is under a tropical storm watch with tropical storm warnings up for the coastal waters, and that is due to Calvin, which is a tropical storm. Top winds are 50 miles an hour. It's been steadily weakening as it moves westward. It's about 800 miles east of the big island of Hawaii, about a little less than 1,100 miles from Honolulu. Their Hurricane Center is keeping this as a tropical storm as it passes just south of the Big Island. That's their forecast, and then it weakens into a tropical depression. It is possible that this could wind up weakening a bit faster than advertised, so we will be monitoring that as it moves along. Meanwhile, taking a look at the latest surface map, we have a stationary boundary right along the coast. It's not really doing much of anything as far as shower and thunderstorm activity today, mainly because the energy is with this weather front that's to the west, moving through eastern Michigan, now entering into northern Ohio and Indiana, cutting Illinois in half as a stationary boundary back over into Kansas, and then another cold front behind that little low there that you see near Kansas City, and that cold front extends westward up into the corner of Colorado, and then back to a stationary front up the Rockies. Nice and cool up in the plains, temperatures in the 60s and 70s with reasonable dew points. While here in the east, of course, the dew points actually are a little lower today. It's still humid out, but at least they're in the upper 60s, which is uncomfortable enough, but that's actually better than having dew points that were up in the 70s like we saw late last week and over the weekend. The smoke is that milky white that you see on the satellite. The clouds are moving. The smoke is moving as well. It's not particularly thick in most places, but it's enough there that we have air quality issues. Some thunderstorm development late this afternoon over southern Ohio into southwest Pennsylvania and West Virginia. Also seeing some thunderstorms moving through parts of Missouri and into Illinois. Storms popping up in South Florida. Those flashes you see are all lightning strikes. And here's a close-up view of the Northeast. You see the milky white is the smoke, the brighter white, the cloud tops, and they're moving to the east. It was a mainly sunny day in the Northeast today, welcomed after yesterday's big rain, but it was a hot one with temperatures that reached up into the upper 80s and low 90s. The radar view, this is as of 4:20 Eastern Time. In the Northeast, not much going on at all. Nice and quiet, but get down into Pennsylvania and into West Virginia, southern Ohio. We have some heavier thunderstorms there with the odd severe thunderstorm warning popping up. Much of the southeast, except right along the South Carolina-Georgia coast, is rain-free, enjoying a beautiful but very warm to hot summer afternoon. More numerous storms down in Florida. You can see the complex of severe weather in south central Missouri, moving southeastward with numerous severe thunderstorm warnings there. Also, a couple of clusters to the north in northern Missouri and into southern Illinois, and another cluster that is down into eastern Arkansas and western Arkansas and eastern Oklahoma. The Storm Prediction Center for tonight has a fairly large area of marginal and slight risk from the central and northern plains, also from the southern plains east through the middle Mississippi Valley and then northeast into the Ohio Valley. This, by the way, comes with just a small area of tornado risk in southern Missouri and northern Arkansas of about 2%. Now, for tomorrow, the Storm Prediction Center has now added a large area of marginal risk from western Maine to northeastern New York and then points southward all the way into a small portion of eastern South Carolina. There's no tornado risk is being indicated. There is tornado risk being indicated up in the Dakotas of about 2%. And then we have the second area of marginal to slight risk that runs through the northern and central plains and then pokes and nose southeastward through the middle Mississippi Valley and into the Tennessee Valley. But this marginal risk for tomorrow, the bigger issue tomorrow is going to be rain, obviously in the areas where we have flood watches and flash flood watches up, because we're at a point now where even if we get a thunderstorm that in some of those areas you get a thunderstorm that puts down just to say a quick half inch of rain, that's going to be enough to cause river flooding because the rivers are all very, very high. In some areas, it may even be enough to produce some flash flooding, and there will be some heavier rain indicated up in northern New England. WPC, the Weather Prediction Center for tomorrow, has a slight risk of flash flooding from western Maine all the way down to northern New Jersey. So that's a 15 to 40% chance that there could be some flash flooding. I was wondering whether the Mount Holly office for New Jersey and eastern Pennsylvania and the New York City office on Long Island, whether they would put up a flood watch for the lower Hudson Valley and areas in and around New York City and points west and south. For now, they have not done so, but they might revisit that in their forecast tomorrow morning. We also have a moderate risk in a small area from about St. Louis southeastward into western Kentucky, and a moderate risk is a 40 to 70% chance for some flash flooding, and even a marginal risk in parts of the southwest that some scattered thunderstorms that develop today could possibly cause some flash flooding there. And in those areas, it doesn't take much rain to cause a flash flooding issue. So as we move through this week, we are going to have what looks to me two opportunities where we have to deal with some showers and storms. The first one comes tomorrow, and the models have kind of, in some respects, they've backed off a little bit. They're not showing too much south of New York City down through Virginia and North Carolina, but I suspect that there probably will be some thunderstorms there. It's a little bit more numerous up in upstate New York and into New England, which is why the flood watches are up. Otherwise, it's dry across the Great Lakes tomorrow, dry in the southeast and west from there. Not much in the Gulf states as far as storms are concerned. And, of course, the extreme hot weather continues from Louisiana westward into the southwest. So we'll get these storms through here. You see this for Tuesday night. And then that front moves out. We'll have a break on Wednesday, except for northern Maine and areas down in North Carolina and South Carolina, possibly Virginia, might see some showers and thunderstorms Wednesday night. And then Thursday looks mostly dry, but we've got another stronger front that will approach for Thursday night and Friday, which will produce some showers and thunderstorms. And this one might be a bit more powerful, and that the rain would be a bit more widespread. I also would anticipate that there could be some severe weather risk being indicated with this. That moves on through, and if everything goes according to plan, the weekend in the Northeast, other than some scattered storms running around inland on Saturday and less so on Sunday, it should be a good weekend, that we will not have another Sunday of widespread soaking rains. That would be very good news indeed. The Joe and Joe Weather Show tonight is at 7:35 p.m. We will cover all of this. We'll have the latest on Tropical Storm Calvin. We'll talk about the flood watches, the smoke that's come back, and much more. So that's tonight at 7:35 p.m. Eastern Time.